Hello friends! In this project, we're taking these two very real Littlest pet shops and finishing off my INVADER ZIM LPS customs. I'm using regular size ones for this because I don't like these characters enough to waste two entire jumbos on them. They'll still get sculpting though, of course. This little, I think it's a chimp. This little chimp is going to be Gaz because I thought the pose was cute. This is one of the ones where the head comes off super easily for some reason. This butterfly is definitely one from the line that nobody liked, and she's going to be Tack. Its head comes off too, but it's too hard to get back on for me to just show you guys, sorry. It's not at all a bobblehead, but apparently it's a real LPS, but who cares. So anyway, I chose this specific butterfly because it's standing upright. It's not like antenna would have been hard to apply to some other base, but I had an idea for them wings. I'm going to carve them down into basically just outlines to be her spidery pack legs, just because I thought it would look cool. I did almost all of that off camera, and while it's not very smooth after this, it'll be fine. Actually, I did a real big boo-boo on her left side because I very accidentally sliced through her bottom leg, but it'll be fine, I'll just glue it on again later. Gaz's prep was much simpler. I cut off the little ponytail and trimmed down the fur around the legs to make them smoother as she doesn't wear pants. We'll get to the sculpting now. These being small pets, I'm not going to kill myself over getting the best detail. I couldn't sculpt for over a month and never did anything quite this small, so I'm giving myself a pass for it looking kinda gross. I filled in the gap between the butterfly's two lower legs, I gave Tack her pack, and completely forgot that she had that weird tunic with the train on it until I started sculpting. I also did the front of her tunic, I'll decide if I like it later. One more thing I forgot that Tack had was the mind control thingy on her head. The part above her eye was easy, but I was having trouble sculpting the rest of it. I don't know what it's supposed to look like on the back of her head, but I'm pretending that I know it's some kind of implant. Of course, we're going for a full Urkin on her, so I don't need to worry about the hair that kept getting in the way of her facial animation in the show. Gaz's body is much easier. I'm covering up the chimp's little toes, and I can swing the rest of the body with just paint, I think. Her hair is a pain in the whatever. It's another one of those things that looks cool on paper, but screw you if you try to sculpt it. My epoxy here is just a little more than an hour cured, and it's near impossible for me to do anything with it. So I'll swap it out for some newly mixed epoxy and do her hair, which would have probably been best done over 2 or 3 passes, but hell if I give a damn enough for that. The ends of her hair that frame her jaw are easy enough. It's the top part that really kills. Of course, it's the show's version of her, and her hair is very slightly more complicated than the comic version. Either one is apparently supposed to look like Jaws with sharp teeth around her head, but the teeth, my dudes, the gosh darn teeth. These bangs look horrible, and there's so much clay that I was worried that it was going to make her fall, as the head is nearly solid plastic too. But as of setting her to cure, it seems like she was still able to stand. Funny enough, Tack can't stand because she's front heavy now. Fantastic. I wanted to add one more thing. I was pretty sure that I had something in my collection that would work, and I did manage to find it. This little kitty is going to be Mimi, Tack's Sir unit. I wiped the paint off of this one, and I carved the ears down a little bit because I think it was maybe some kind of a leopard or something, so it had round ears. I used epoxy to give them the horn shape that they normally have. I like Mimi. I think it's cute that Tack not only upgraded and customized the Sir unit, but she also gave it a unique name. It's also really cute that she brought Mimi to school, and how she just sounded frustrated and not angry when Mimi went cuckoo on her ship. Speaking of ship, my favorite pair from the show is... No, we're not doing that here. I tried to be careful with the sanding on them. Like with the sculpting, I'm not going to kill myself over the pack looking kind of gross or that Gaz's bangs don't look great. I tried to sand down the little fur detail that the chimp had. We'll see how that paints. And about that. I didn't wipe the paint off the pets before I sculpted because they're obviously going to be fully painted anyway, but I was like, but a blank canvas though. And found that not only is the chimp's entire face painted, but so are the butterfly's antennae, which are both actually separate pieces of plastic from the head. So I'm not bothering to wipe the rest of the paint. I misplaced my cotton balls. I gave them a couple of base coats in white to get them somewhat even instead. I went in with base colors for them all at the same time. I did this with paint straight from the bottle so that the actual colors look solid. When they were decent, I mixed up some colors to be closer to what they will be when they're done. I'm going to use the blue that I mixed for Mimi as the final fur color, as well as the color of Tack's antennae because I thought it'd be cute as a reference to her human disguise. Mimi is obviously super simple. I just painted the ears to be gray. I went over them with some metallic pearlized paint to make them look like metal because that's just what I figured they're supposed to look like. Textures are really hard to decipher in cartoons, give me a break. I painted the eyes to be squinty and suspicious and mean looking. I don't know how symmetrical they turned out because, my eyes aren't good. I have been having bad problems recently. Not even a full year after cross-linking, god damn it all. Gaz was alright. Of course, I dreaded doing her skin tone. I tried to have it match Dib's somewhat. I wanted it to be lighter because I figured the gamer girl doesn't leave the house much, but I don't know if it even is lighter. It took some doing, but I tried to be really careful with it once it was painted so I didn't have to go over it again. The texture is disgusting. I went over her hair with a slightly different purple. I was finding this color really hard to match as well, so sorry if it doesn't look completely accurate. I wanted her tights to be a different hue, but I guess they're going to be the same in the end. I wasn't confident that I could keep the black paint off of her head, so I wrapped it in tape before I painted her dress and her shoes. Her eyelashes were a pain to do because, my eyes aren't good. And because of the geometry here. And because I'm just not good at doing things. I'm not happy with them, but they're going to be fine because I don't want to try again. I'll paint her necklace off camera. Tack has a lot of different stuff going on with her. This is just me, but I think it'd be neat if the packs had different colors like how Urk and Eyes do. It looks like the colors are similar or the same as the colors of their tunic sleeves, which is, but I guess the rest of the tunic matches their eyes, more or less. It'd have been nice to have more than 3 canon eye colors on these things, but whatever. Anyway, her pack here is a different color, deal with it. I gave up trying to get the right purple for her clothes. The lighter one is mixed up, but the main color is just straight from the bottle because I couldn't find good reference images of her for some reason. Purple is one of those colors where I get extremely picky about the hues. Red is definitely another one for me, and maybe pink too. So anyway, we're using the same paint color for her eyes. I think she needs angry eyes, so she's getting angry eyes. I'm painting them like how I did ZIM's, where the main color is technically the darker iris color, a darker colored sclera is the shading, 2 lighter shades are the inner iris and pupil, and the highlights are an even lighter shade. I wanted them painted before I went in with black on her. The gloves were hard to do. Her pants and her boots are awkward because of her tunic. I hope that the paint is opaque on this. Again, the eyes and eyelashes aren't symmetrical because, my eyes aren't good. Kids, take care of your eyes and your neck and your arms and your back and your legs and your lungs and stuff. I am aging horribly. I went in with the same pack tone to paint in. Well, they're little spots, but they're supposed to represent the joints in the pack legs. I figured that those would match too. I paint her beauty mark and what I can of her logo off camera. Anyway, here they are. I think Mimi is the best, obviously. I think I like how Tack looks better just because I really don't like how Gaz turned out. I still like the idea of her having her pack legs out, even though they look like garbage and keep her from standing up. Gaz's hair is just not doing it for me. Her whole head is a tragedy. I think I should have modified the base's mouth before I did this. At least one of them looks fine, but golly. I don't think I'm going to be sculpting on standard LPS bases too often.
I can't see. The haters are wow. I killed the hater queen.
That's funny.
You can't just kill the hater queen. I did.
Oh, I did.
I did it. And I don't feel bad about it. And I'm tired of pretending like I don't feel bad.